Hello, bonjour. Hi, Laura.
Hi, Cecile.
Welcome, everyone. I see that we already have Mona, Barbara, and Glorious Life on Wheels. That's
Oh,
a name.
her name is Carol.
Okay. You know
She's
her.
wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah.
So before we begin, I just want to make a quick tour of my sketchbook where I paint flowers. And this is for my course flower party that is beginning this Saturday. And I will add a link in the description under the live. I forgot to do it. I'm not good at marketing things, I guess. And I wanted to paint with Nora because we have different styles and we have different ways to approach a painting. Even if we use gouache, both of us, we still do things differently. So for a start, as I have a sketchbook that is on portrait mode, I will use a vertical format for the painting. And Nora, you are doing it.
Horizontal.
First difference. Second difference, I see that you already did a background. Tell us more about that.
Um, when I was looking at the photo, to me, I see like a lot of lavender and stuff in the water, like where the light is hitting it. And I just thought that it would be nice to tone the paper. So I toned it with some acrylic wash,
Ah,
a very light wash of it, and I just thought it would be a nice compliment to whatever I do on top of it.
and why did you use acrylic gouache and not regular gouache?
Because I wanted a background that won't lift up when I paint on top of it. Sometimes I paint with just the regular gouache to do the background, and then it just kind of melts into whatever I'm doing on top. I have no problem with that. But I just wanted like a background that was static so it wouldn't move, so it wouldn't shift and reactivate with whatever I paint on top.
Yes, it's not rewettable for acrylic, so it's easier to paint with gouache if you don't want your colors to merge, to blend, to smudge, and sometimes to get muddy.
Right.
All right, so I'm doing the background with gouache because hi Judy, hi Milza, hi Miss Net. Welcome everyone. So I'm doing the background with a liquid gouache, just as a first layer, because I'm not sure of the color of the water. It's
So you started already, right?
Yes, you can go
Oh,
ahead. Sorry, you
geez.
were waiting. Oh, my
Okay.
bad. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Let's see.
So, is anyone painting along with us while we are doing that? Would like to know.
It's always such fun for me to do this with you because I don't see what you're doing
Yes, I know.
until the very end. So it's nice because sometimes it could be distracting. It's like, oh, maybe I should do that, or why is she doing that? That kind of thing. So it's kind of nice.
You have the surprise at the end. I know.
Yes.
But I do see what you are doing.
Right.
So Mona is painting along. Okay, great, Mona. Ah, all right. So I'm pretty happy with the color of the background so far. Maybe we change my mind, but this is a blue gray. Maybe later on I will lighten it a bit. I want to place that first. Do the leaves as well.
Yeah.
What are you beginning with? Yes, flower and leaves.
Just the
Okay.
center of the flower, and now I'm going to do some of the leaves.
And the leaves are pretty light as well.
Yep.
It's really a light light green.
It's a pretty complicated piece, actually. You know, the more I looked at it, I was like, oh, geez, this is.
Yeah, you chose it.
I'm not apologizing for it. I love it.
Okay. But yes, I agree. You have a lot happening here. And given that we won't be painting for 3 hours, we will have to simplify. So it's an exercise to try to simplify something like that. I think I'm going too dark even. It's not as dark as I thought it is. So one tip to see the value is to blink and look at the image and see where are the dark parts. And I think the darkest part is the center of the flower. Do you agree?
The center of the flower and then the shadows under the leaves.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the shadow under the flower.
Is it visible? The paper? I mean, is everything visible on?
Yes.
Want to make sure everybody can see it. Okay, good.
Yeah, that's good. So I have changed a bit the reference image because under the big flower, there is a bud, I think, emerging from the water. And I think it will be difficult to understand what it is once it's painted. So I have skipped it.
The one that's under the flower?
Yes. Looks
Yeah.
like a bud.
Yeah.
Are you painting it?
I have it sketched out, but I don't know. That's the nice thing about gouache. It doesn't, you can just change what you're doing at any point.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So what do we have? Lifestyle coaching with Donna. So I guess it's Donna. Welcome, Donna. Beyond my garden gate. Okay. Bonjour from Bourges. Okay. It's a French one.
Yes.
Cecilia, Christine. Ah, she's leaving, going to work. Nora, Judy is asking, what kind of brush are you using?
I just use really cheap synthetic, mostly flat brushes. I don't use, I work in watercolor too, but I have found that gouache is very rough on brushes. And
Did you?
what?
Did you find that? I didn't.
I find that and I also realize it might also be because of the way I work with it. But whatever it is, I just find it to be very hard on brushes, and something about the way gouache is formulated. I find that the pigment gets stuck up in the ferrule a lot.
Yeah.
And it's just impossible to get it out completely. So I like using cheap synthetic brushes. I guess they're the type that you would use, for acrylics. I like using them because I have no feeling of preciousness about them. I feel very free to just do what I want to do or try stuff or spread the bristles out if I want to make texture. I do a lot of animal portraits, pet portraits, and I spread out the bristles to make some furry texture and things like that. I like that they're cheap, and I have a zillion of them, and whatever happens with them.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
I buy synthetic brushes. I also have fancy ones, but really don't see the difference much. And I don't know about the paint caught in the ferrule because I tend not to go to the ferrule. I tend to stop my paint before the ferrule. I don't know. Just the way I do it. Hi, Jude.
I think also a big thing is that watercolor brushes I'm talking for me. I mean, nobody, everyone has a different experience with every medium and with every tool. But the way I work, the watercolor brushes hold too much water.
Oh, yes,
When
certainly.
you're working with watercolor, it's great. You want more water, but with gouache, it's different. So the synthetic brushes don't hold as much water. So I'm able to kind of control the consistency better.
I agree. Too much water in watercolor brushes, really. It's a pain to work on gouache, with those brushes.
And good watercolor brushes are so expensive. And I save them for my watercolor,
Yeah, you're right. Seems a good idea. So actually, I'm changing my mind with the colors. Of course, it had to happen. It was too dark. I knew. I see purple, I see blue in the leaves, actually.
Yep.
I guess you do too.
Yes, I do.
Uh-huh.
I'm not
We
going to feel guilty about picking about the picture though. I think
It's a great picture. No
yeah.
worries. Just maybe not very easy to begin with. If you are a beginner, maybe it's not the best one, but besides that, it's fun. I'm trying to establish my value. Yeah, you see, we don't approach the painting the same way. I am kind of patching the things. I work on parts and I finish a part and then I move to another part. Nora is more applying paint all over and maybe working in big masses, more abstract than I do. Is it correct, Nora?
Um, that's funny because I was thinking I'm not doing. I don't feel like I feel like in this one for some reason I'm not working in big masses as much as I usually do because I'm getting kind of like I guess distracted by all the leaves and stuff and the colors of the leaves. Um, you never know what you could plan it out like crazy and then it just kind of takes over. I I I I don't really know what I'm doing with this one. I'm just doing it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Placing there and here and there, a bit of that, a bit of this. And
Yeah.
we'll see how it go à la fin, at the end.
You know, I know I've mentioned this several I mean, I have and I know you do too, a daily sketchbook thing and it has helped me so much over the years because of course I care how this comes out. I hope it comes out nice, but I'm not attached to that as much as I used to be. I'm not waiting for a compliment. I'm just trying stuff out and see what happens and whatever. It's just a piece of paper.
Oh, yes. And it's more important to enjoy the process
Yep.
than the end result.
Yep.
That's for sure. But I know that beginners, they want to get pretty things.
Yep.
Pretty often, this is what I ask for. And that's okay. It's a way I approach things at first too. But now, just like you, I almost don't care about the end result. Yeah, I have to post on social media, so it's better if it's appealing, but it's not my main goal,
Right.
actually. It's very impressionistic, the subject of the painting that you chose. Pretty
Yeah.
much Monet, you know?
I'm pretty consistent in that way, aren't I?
Okay. I need to darken some parts again. My values were really wrong at first. So now I have trouble fixing them. So always the same story. If you don't do it right first, well, you have to come back to it.
You know, a couple of months ago, I saw everybody using this cheap sketchbook from Royal Talons,
Oh, yeah, the art
and
creation.
I never wanted to try it. I mean, I've gone through at least 20 companies that makes watercolor books, you know, and you add it up over the years, it's a lot of money. And but even more than the money, you're concerned about, you don't want to waste the paper, you know, you want to make a pretty, you know, you want it to turn out right, and whether it's conscious or unconscious, it's there. So I finally caved in, and I bought a small little one, you know, for my daily urban sketching when I go to coffee shops or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I cannot believe how that has affected my daily practice, because I don't care. I truly, you
Ah,
know, it's like the book has 80 pages in it, and it cost about $6, I think. And it took me 3 months to get through it. I just finished it yesterday, actually.
ah.
And
So
it's this,
you are not concerned about wasting it, air quotes here.
no, right. So it kind of like lends itself to let me try this, and let's see what would happen if I do this, and let's that. I thought I was doing that before, but it's even more now than ever
Mm.
before, because I don't care about if I waste paper. It's like I just want to relax and enjoy the moment. And if it turns out to be a piece of junk, okay, that's okay, you know. And it's a great feeling. It's like a huge. I didn't expect that when I first started with it. I really was like, I really want to see if this paper can really take it. You know, take the gouache or take watercolor, because it's pretty thin paper, and it takes everything that I've used it. I've tried at least 6 different mediums with it, and even though the paper is thin, it's like it's a sketchbook. It handles it. It doesn't bleed through. It doesn't. It buckles a little, but you know, you just, so what, you know.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I have several of those sketchbooks, and I keep them for drawing because I don't like to add paint to it,
Uh
but
huh.
just my preference. It's it's a good sketchbook, and yes, as it is so inexpensive, you don't mind about it. So that's
No,
pretty cool. You can really be free when you work in there. So Mona is saying that she doesn't know what she's doing, just like you. I try to pretend I know what I'm doing. And Cecilia is saying, I'm using a pink Royal Talents right now, but for watercolor it's not that good. Yeah, it's not meant for watercolor. It's too thin and it will buckle a lot. Do you use watercolor in it, Nora, or just gouache?
in the cheap sketchbook.
Yes.
I've used watercolors. I don't use a lot of layers. I do a lot of urban sketching and a lot of coffee shop sketches. I've been doing that since I'm a teenager, and I stopped for a good 20, 30 years. But um and it can handle a couple of washes. It's not, you can't, you know, do a very ornate thing with a million layers on it. It definitely can't handle that. But I'll do like line and wash, you know. I'll sketch out the person with a fine liner or a fountain pen, and then I'll add a wash of watercolor, and maybe one more wash to just build up a little bit of, you know, volume, and that's it. That's all it could take. But that's enough for me for that type of piece. You know, I'm just, it can handle gouache unbelievably well.
Yeah, for gouache it's good. I think it's better for gouache.
Yeah, with gouache, you're not using a tremendous amount of water the way you might be with the watercolors.
So I am in the heart of the flower now. I feel I have enough value on the outside, even if I may come back to it. Pretty sure I will. And the pink I'm using is opera pink.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
okay.
I want to be bold.
Okay.
And this is a wonderful pink, very bright, but very fugitive also. So it's okay because I'm working in a sketchbook, so it doesn't take the sun. But if you plan to have your art on the wall with opera pink, you should be aware that it won't last forever.
Yeah, I'm pretty conscious of because I sell a lot of my I sell my original gouache, most of them. So I'm very conscious of, you know, uh the light fastness.
Yeah. So I love this color, so I use it, but I
Yeah.
know the downsides of it. And I visited the factory that were making gouache, and
Uh-huh.
I talked to the engineer that was doing the chemistry, and he said that's the very nature of this pigment. We cannot have it
Right.
permanent. Impossible. Ah, too
Right.
bad.
It's because it's fluorescent.
Yeah, and he said, but artists love it just like you do, so we have to keep it in our
Yeah.
in our list of supplies. But they prefer permanent pigments too because it's easier to sell.
Which gouache factory did you go to?
It was Winsor and Newton. It's they have a factory in France.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah, they make two brands. They make Winsor and Newton, and they make Linel, which is a French brand.
Right.
And it's made in the same factory, but not with the same process for the two brands. And they also do the acrylics from Le Franc-Bourgeois,
Okay.
the flash acrylic.
Oh, yeah. Boy, everyone seems to like that.
Yeah, I have a couple of tubes. Never used them, just once, and okay.
That
I
much,
don't
huh?
know. I don't know why everyone is so fond of this, but maybe I'm missing the point. I don't know. Do you use the flash acrylic?
No. The only acrylics that I've used so far is the Golden Open, which I
Uh-huh.
love. I haven't used them enough. I really need to use them more. I wanted to try them because I just thought it would be like a nice kind of combination without having to go to oils because I'm not going to be doing that ever. So um I just thought the open acrylics might be like a really nice uh you know compromise to get the experience as close as I can get to painting with oils without painting with oils.
Why don't you want to paint with oils?
For a lot of reasons. I have extremely limited space where I live. I don't
Hmm.
have space to be like, have paintings drawing all over the place.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's like a rabbit hole that I don't want to go down. I have so much um stuff right now, so many supplies, and I just kind of I'm just want to enjoy them, enjoy what I have. And I love the open acrylics. When I first started with the acrylic gouache, and I really didn't expect to love it, and I love it. I don't use it enough because I'm so in love with gouache, but I absolutely love it. And I bought maybe 6 tubes of the acrylic gouache, and I just fell in love with it. I just saw like a lot of different ways I could use it, and then I bought more. I buy the Turner brand. They're pretty, really, pretty cheap. So I bought all kinds of beautiful colors, and then I was just like, I had been thinking about the open acrylics for a long time, and just, started with a few tubes to see if I'd like it, and I did. I do.
Uh-huh.
So we're
Well,
on.
I use oil painting, and
Yeah.
I use water mixable oil painting.
Uh-huh.
So you don't have to use solvents.
Right.
And I use liquid, which is a medium that faster process of drying. So it dries in almost, well, I would say 1 hour, maybe.
Uh-huh.
So no problem.
So if I
So
start buying oil paint supplies, I'll blame you. Thanks so much, Cecile.
but I agree, it's a rabbit hole. Once you go in there,
Right.
we will lose you.
I mean,
I
I
know.
think I, I think any new medium can be the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
We have so much choice. It's insane. It's wonderful, what we have to choose from.
Yeah, but I am like, um, shit. Sorry, I'm looking for the word in French, in English. I I have the syndrome of the bird looking at, shiny objects. I have the same with painting mediums. I always want to try new things,
Uh-huh.
but you have to. It's easier to stick to one or two or three, but not much more than that. Otherwise, you don't master anything. Well, just my opinion. I know some
Yeah.
people think differently. So
I
someone's saying,
Uh-huh.
so interesting how paintings of the same subject can look so different. Oh yeah, they couldn't look more different than that. This is cool.
Yeah, you and I have very, very different. It's fascinating.
Oh yeah, and I feel I lack a bit of strength in my colors, so I'm adding more strong color. It's too weak for me. I need to push a bit my contrast now that I know approximately where I'm going.
I think, for anyone who might not know, I was an artist most of my life, but I stopped for 20 years. I just lost my interest. I had a lot of life crisis going on and a lot to contend with, and I completely stopped. And I gave away all my supplies to my buddy, most of them to my buddy's daughter, who was, doing artwork at that time. And at least 20 years where I didn't do anything.
Mm.
And, so now after restarting about 7 years ago, it's like I can't get enough of it. I really don't think I appreciated it as much as back then as I do now. I really don't.
Yeah, I completely with you on this. Sometimes we take things for granted and they're not. And when you can come back to art, it's such a joy.
We had a hand painted. Me and my husband had a hand painted clothing line. At first, I did it by myself. I wholesaled to children's clothing stores all over the country. And so I was always painting, even if it was on t-shirts, on baby t-shirts or, you know, whatever. I was still doing my artwork. And then he was an artist and he joined me and he came up with his own designs. And we did this. I did it, for from the early 80s, into the 2000s pretty much. So painting every single day, and eventually you're painting the same designs because those are the ones that sell. When you got to pay a mortgage,
Yeah.
you're not thinking of just artistic expression. You want to paint what's going to sell.
Mm.
So, now being sort of retired, it's like I'm free to do whatever I want. I do what inspires me just for the sake of doing it and the joy of doing it. And it's like I never had that in my life.
Mm.
So it's fabulous.
So good.
Yeah.
You deserve to enjoy.
Thank you, dear. I still don't even know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it.
Yeah, I'm thinking that I will skip the droplets. Not that I'm so fond of doing them. It's too time consuming for me. Maybe something a bit loose, but not individual droplets. Sabine is saying, Nora, dear, you inspire others by doing so too.
Oh, who said that?
Sabine.
Oh, thank you, Sabina. Tanti baci. Got an international crowd.
Mm. Well, at this point, we should know what we are doing. I'm not sure we are.
You think?
Not sure we are yet to it, but close. Let's pretend we know what we do.
Okay. It's all
Huh?
planned out.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. Pretend until you can do it. I have a hard time with a flower.
Yeah, it's this is yeah. Just
Yeah, the values are pretty complicated. I don't know. My eyes are weird today. I don't see things like I do usually, but. And Sabine is adding, you do look convincingly as if you knew what you were doing. Yes, yes, that's good.
that's very diplomatic.
Yeah. I will like white, I think. Let's lighten a bit the water. I knew I would come back to it. I knew.
I just finished a painting and I posted it today on Instagram. And from the minute I started it, from the minute I saw the reference picture, I knew I had to paint it. I asked permission to use the picture. And when
It's a woman sitting in the bar.
yeah,
In
it's
the,
actually a man.
a
Yeah.
man. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, in a diner. And that painting came out of me like so quick. I mean, easily, not quickly, but easily. It's so weird. And then you have one like this where you're not fighting it, but it's like you're just trying to figure it out. I knew exactly what to do with that painting, the one that I posted today. I knew exactly what I wanted. I knew pretty much exactly how to achieve it, more or less. And, you know, you just never know, like, what subject matter is going to really
kick you.
kick you in the ass.
Yeah, exactly. Because this one is doing it to me. But fine.
You're not mad at me, right?
No, 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 no. But I would have never chosen this one because I know it can be very complicated. So what I want to do now is spray everything with water. Because why not? Can you hear that?
Yes.
I bought a fancy spritz bottle with colors. You don't see that, but it's pink and blue. And now that everything is wet, I can go in there and blend a bit. Just to get some of these highlights that we have to show that it's catching the light. I'm going with visible brush strokes like I usually do, but not the same as yours. By the way, I have switched to a round brush.
Oh,
Yeah, I thought it would need it.
I usually only use the round brushes at the end, like to add tiny little highlights or sparkle or um
Yeah, same, but this one is really complicated, so doing my best. And this is very liquid as I have added a lot of water, but I wanted it, so don't come and blame. And I have to wait for it to dry to make the stamina in the middle.
yeah.
I have the correct word. Oh, great.
Stamina, no, stamen.
Oh, stamen. Oh.
Stamina is energy. I
Yeah.
have stamina to clean my
Sorry,
house today.
my bad.
I never have the stamina to clean my house.
Well, I had it earlier, but my vacuum cleaner just don't want to work. There is a error message, so I cannot use it. Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, you sound really upset.
Oh yes, I am very upset. I wasn't able to to clean. Well, that's the way it is. No worries. I have friend coming tonight, but they won't care.
Nah.
I think what would be great for this one is to add colored pencils. Once it's dry, of course.
Uh-huh.
Or maybe, oh, what I'm thinking is I will grab my watercolor pencils. I want to try something.
Okay. I
Because
give you
as it's wet, so I can add color and have it merging with the paint. See that? Ah, yeah, might be to make the little veins in the flower's petal. Like that. I'm carving a bit the paint with my colored pencil. Yeah, we are getting to something so different.
I do, well, not lately, but I usually do a lot of different painting challenges that different artists put out, and it's just fascinating, like I'm crazy about that landscape artist of the year and portrait artist of the year in the UK. And it's just fascinating as heck, to see what 8 different people come up with of the same scene.
Mm.
and how they, create whatever it is that they're seeing with their eyes,
No, I will add white to that now on top. Yeah, I'm getting to something I begin to like. Now I'm taking some.
This brush, I don't know if it's on the camera, this brush is a pointed filbert, and I love this for fine lines. It's a cheap brush, so you lose the point after a while, but I like this even more than a round brush for some reason with gouache.
Oh, really? Well, okay. I use round brushes. They work fine. Stamens.
Stamens.
Need to remember this one. All right, some highlights here. And
one of the things I love about gouache is I think out of all the mediums that I've worked with, I mean, mostly with watercolors and gouache, I think that gouache has the longest ugly stage.
oh, yes.
And I love that because the reveal, when you start pulling it together, is so wonderful.
Yeah, you're right.
It all comes together in this moment, and it's like, wow, this is so great.
Yeah, you have really to be confident, to trust the process, and
Yeah,
don't think too hard. It will eventually maybe get something good.
eventually.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I'm happy with my watercolor pencils,
Oh,
actually.
good.
Yeah, it gives something that I really like. Not very often that I say I really like, so. And when I have added a spritz of water, it's doing a texture that looks like the droplets. So it's perfect. I don't need to add the droplets. I can just keep it the way it is. That's fine. So same in, but my mid part is not really dry yet. So it's an orange. Did you do it? No, not yet. Ah, Margarita is saying yours is so my painting is giving you a Van Gogh vibe. Yeah, maybe. And thank you. I am flattered because I'm not Van Gogh, but okay.
Take it.
Yeah, I take it. Thank you. The stamens are like little flames going outside of the heart. Love that. It's giving all the little effect at the end. So cool. A bit of light yellow to that. And I like to have my colors here and there. So I have this orange. I will place it in a different part of the painting because I don't like to have a color in just one part of my painting. Like having orange only in the stamens. I want to add it in different parts as well. Just to, I don't know, it's my habit. And why not? It's my painting, so I can do what I want.
You just sounded like a little kid.
I am. I am 6 years old. You didn't know that? Well, if we cannot have fun while painting, when are we having fun?
Yep.
So let's enjoy ourselves, and life is too serious. So. I don't have enough fingers on my hands because they are all dirty. Because I'm using my pulp to blend my colors. And so those things happen at some point. Your fingers are all dirty.
I stay pretty clean. I have such I'm sitting at my kitchen counter. That's my studio. That's created hundreds and hundreds of paintings by this point in the last 7 years. I never was so productive as I am at my kitchen counter. Because it's always here, and I keep certain supplies here all the time.
So Margarita is
what?
saying, I think it's a dark outlines. Oh, that gives the Van Gogh vibe. Yes. He used really a strong outline, and maybe I could increase that actually. Because now that you say that, I want to do it more.
You're doing strong outlines with the paint or with the pencils?
Pencils. Oh, what was that?
I have the Long Island Railroad tracks. I live right behind them.
Okay.
Yep. When we had our store, we had it was hand painted clothing for years, and then we eventually changed it to a toy store because we got sick of painting every day, and because we were painting maybe a dozen or 2 dozen shirts or pieces of clothing every day for years, and we just had enough. So we evolved into a toy store, and the store was right in front of railroad tracks also. When we relocated the toy store to an area closer to our home, we were right in back of train tracks. So we never could get away from trains. I love it, actually. I find it very comforting.
You are used to it.
I'm used to it, and I don't know, I just find it so comforting because just life just keeps going, keeps moving whether you want it to or not. And I find that comforting.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Margarita, for the tip. I am adding a lot of outlines now. Because why not? And a bit of watercolor pencils, but dry this time, not, or just a bit and white on it. So I will dilute the paint. Oh yeah. So are you close to the end, Nora?
I guess. I mean, I have, little details and stuff that I'd like to do, but
so I think I am done. I could go on for a bit longer. You can still go on for a bit longer. It's never finished, actually. It's just that at some point you decide that it's enough.
Right. They always say that's the hardest thing. It's harder than even creating the painting is to stop, to know when to stop. Because it's always the time when you actually can screw it up and just do too much. Or
yeah, this is when you say, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
You need to stop. Oh, maybe bright thing here. No, it's not better. And I think I am at this stage. Yeah. I think it's now.
I'm going to attempt a couple of drops. I don't think I've ever done raindrops.
Ah, well, I have done, but I don't like doing that. It's too picky for me.
To pick,
I prefer something more suggestive. And yeah, when I look at the camera, I think we can see the highlight on the water. I would say I'm done.
but
Yeah, could be. I'm afraid this is the moment. If I add more to it, I will regret it. And while I say that, what am I doing? Adding more. You know.
how many people are watching?
I don't. 34.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, that's what YouTube says. So I guess he knows. All right. So what we will do is post that on Instagram and Facebook. Yes, Nora.
Sure.
And I will post it also in the Facebook group, Gouache Painter. So
Your group is growing like crazy.
yeah, it has stopped a bit, the growth. It's lower now, so it's okay. But we are 18,000 something, which is a lot of
Yeah, that's
people.
wonderful.
Yeah, and it's a friendly group, really. When you ask a question, people are always answering.
Yep.
I said I would stop, but I didn't, and now I regret. So let's call it a day.
There's I forget where it was said, but they said somebody said something like more paintings are ruined, are destroyed by an artist saying, "Let me just do this one more thing."
Yes, and this is the thing you shouldn't. But I'm happy with it. We have very different things. It's almost like it's not the same image. That's fun. I love it. You added a lot of purples. I have skipped them. I could, but it's too late now. Yeah. I think mine has really impressionistic vibes. Not
Uh-huh.
that I don't want to brag, but I'm happy with this one. Well, thank you everyone for attending. And don't forget to tag us if you paint something. What's the name of Nora's page? Yeah, your IG page, Nora.
No, it's NORAKAG. That's my Instagram page, and
Right.
that's where you can always reach me. And there's a link there. I have an Etsy shop, but you can always just send me a message if you have any questions or.
All right, I've added your Instagram in the chat.
Thank you.
All right, so thank you everyone. I would say women mostly in the chat anyway. And see you soon for another live session.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you. Bye. Au revoir.
Au revoir. Aw.